This is going to be your overview if you're a music producer of when it comes to negotiating your royalties, your flat fees. What do you need to look out for? What's industry standard? How are you going to get the best deal? So this is all the things that I do every single day as a real music attorney, and I'm going to break it all down for you in this video. So make sure, of course, you hit that like button, and let's just jump right into it. So first of all, I just need to kind of let's pave the way. We need to define kind of, knowing your worth, but in a more pragmatic sense, in that we're using it for negotiation. So there are things that we're going to look at as far as, what's your experience? Okay, are you a brand new producer? Do you have some kind of resume? Have you done some, notable things? And have you been paid before? Or are we kind of starting from scratch? This is the first time you're getting your feet wet. So it's experience, also skill set, right? How much have you done this? Again, the experience question. And then also market demand. Are you in demand? So these three things come into play when it comes to actually negotiating the deal points, because everyone has an idea of what they want. When you get into negotiation, each side is going to come to the table because they think that the terms should be a certain way. You have an idea of what you want, and the way that we're going to ensure that you get what you want is that hopefully you have some negotiation power. And that's what all this is. If you have a little experience and I can actually come in on your behalf and negotiate something that's going to be advantageous to you, amazing. So that's first and foremost. But maybe you're not there. That's okay. Maybe you don't have that, Grammy under your belt just yet. So let's understand royalties. And let's talk about the three kind of categories of royalties that you just need to be aware of, because this comes into play of how you get paid. When it comes to royalties, we have mechanical royalties, we have public performance royalties, and then we have sync licenses, which may or may not have royalties attached to it. Let me break them down. The first with mechanical royalties is going to be the copies, digital or otherwise, of the music that you were attached to. And so as we have, for example, distribution of the music to music platforms, there are copies of the music, and that's what the mechanical part is about. Okay. So in any case, the mechanical royalties are going to be essentially the earnings from the master itself, the final recorded version. So that's category one. Number two, public performance. So this is going to be if you're, let's say, in the United States, if you're with ASCAP or BMI, the publishing, okay, the publishing income, the public performance royalties are going to be a separate revenue stream. And last but not least, synchronization fees. So to get the music, if we place it in a movie or a commercial or a TV show, these are all the places where the money's coming from. So typically when we're looking at back-end earnings, so sometimes we'll call it, hey, Mr. Producer, we want to get him to, let's say, 10% of back-end royalties. Typically, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about all those different categories, any earnings that are made from the music, we're going to take a piece. All right, so keep that in the back of your mind. Let's continue. What we also are always negotiating are your upfront fees. What does it cost for me to hire you? Now, this is where we can do some creative lawyering and creative negotiating, in that, maybe you're not that worried about back-end earnings. And so you go, well, let's say I'm giving you a discount on my fees. Instead of charging you $5,000 for a song, I'm charging you $500. And I'm giving you my special indie rate. And so in which case, I'm giving you a haircut on the front end amount that you're going to pay me. So therefore, I want more on the back end, and I want 50%. And then vice versa, right? So you can say, well, maybe they don't want to give you a lot. And so you go, fine, I'll take 5% or 2% in some cases. I had a deal where there was like 10 different producers on it. So you better believe each of the producers was getting like 2%. But anyway, so maybe you're taking a haircut on the back end. So then you ask for more money on the front end. And you do this strategically based on whether you think anything's going to happen with the song. If you can ensure that you have some kind of percentage on the back end, I say go for that, because you never know. There might be a hit song, and if you only made your $1,000 upfront and it becomes the next biggest song of the year, and there's, a lot of money that you're missing out on, you will kick yourself. So try to have at least something. But equally, just be pragmatic. If someone it's like a brand new artist, they have zero following, they have nothing going on, it might make more sense for you to just get more money up front. So then now when we're negotiating The royalties combined with the fee up front, that's where you just have the most ability to be creative. A lot of times we might even collaborate with people for free. And then, in which case, we definitely want to do something more like 50-50 on the back end with any potential earnings. So, again, this goes back to just know your worth. Don't give away your services, don't give away your time for free, but you can also make an educated guess on investing in someone because also if you think that someone is kind of, they're brand new, they don't have a lot of money, and so you're going to work with them because you think they're going to be a star and you think that, things will take off and you just want to be tied to the project, obviously you can build a lot of really goodwill by just participating. So there's a lot of different ways to go at this. And sometimes, it's just about what makes the most sense. And please know your worth. And then, very briefly, when it comes to the actual contract. All right, so here are the things that you need to think about. Number one, you need to think about the scope of work. Please be clear in your contract when you write down what it is that you're doing. If you don't write it down, it gives the other person the ability to claim that you said you were going to do all this extra stuff and then you didn't. By having clarity, it gives clarity, right? And then also have the payment terms structured. So, for example, not just on the upfront payment, try to get as much money as you can upfront, of course, but at a minimum, do like 50-50. Do 50% of whatever the fee is when you start, and then maybe 50% upon delivery of the final thing. Okay. And then when it comes to the royalties, beyond just defining how much you are supposed to get, please make sure there's also just general accounting. When are you supposed to be paid? Who's paying you? How are you getting paid? All that stuff is going to be really important. But also things like credit, right? For a lot of music producers, making sure that they are credited is probably even more important than them just getting paid. And so having it specified how you want to be credited, not just the spelling of your producer name, but, for example, I go so far as to credit my producer on my cover art and, in fact, as a primary artist in a lot of my releases as well. So, again, those are all based on my own deals. But also in the contract, have dispute resolution. So if we have a problem with this contract, where are we going to duke it out? You define what law and what jurisdiction applies. So basically you just go, if you're in California, California law applies, California venue and jurisdiction applies. So we're going to duke it out here in California. And then also a couple last things, ownership. Please be clear who owns the music. Say it. Write it down. And also talk about publishing if applicable, talk about termination if applicable, right? What if that person doesn't pay you, right? Or what if you as a producer do a terrible job and then you never deliver the final product? Does the artist get their money back? Like, that's all stuff that's just really important to have defined. Okay. And then, of course, just from personal experience, I've done this a long time. I've been in music since I was essentially 4. And so that's why I say, it's not all about just getting you the best deal and squeezing out the most pennies possible. We want to actually build a sustainable career for you. And so in order to do that, that comes with just general business knowledge. Know what you are doing. Have contract templates. Like, treat yourself as a professional, regardless of where you are at right now, because that makes a difference. And my producers who, are easily doing 6 figures a year because they are generating beats and selling sample packs and getting hired to produce and make songs for other people, they build their own business. They become their own record label, and you absolutely can too. So as a special kind of bonus with this, also, as far as collecting your public performance royalties, if you haven't heard of it, you definitely need to look into a performance rights organization where you live. If you're in the United States, that would be BMI, ASCAP, or CSAC. Get on one of these platforms. Just one, okay? Get on one of these platforms so you can actually collect your performance rights royalties, and I'm excited for you. Go crush it. Make sure you subscribe so you get more videos. I'm releasing stuff for you all the time. I'll see you on the next one.